Orcas are present in all oceans and have no predators other than humans. Seals, dolphins, whales, if they decide, nothing resists them. They have even developed a technique to hunt the terrible white sharks. Today we propose you to discover spectacular orca attacks that even the biggest whales fear. Orcas are best known for hunting seals for food. So why would they venture to attack a prey that is larger and stronger than themselves? On these images, however, we can see the attack of a group of orcas on a blue whale, filmed by a drone in Monterey, California. Fearless, the killer whales charge at the cetacean, which can measure more than 30 meters and weigh up to 200 tons. Look what this whale did to defend itself. The blue whale turned around, forming what looks like a wall of water to protect it from the orcas. Then she decided to speed away, so fast that the predators couldn't reach her. Lucky for her. One wonders why these orcas carried out this attack. They probably did it for fun, says marine biologist Nancy Black. They play with the whales like cats play with their prey. They're playful and social. Despite its imposing size, it should be noted that the blue whale is quite shy by nature. I imagine that this is why it preferred to take the wide. Numerous stories about orca attacks on humans have been reported in recent years. The orca is now even seen as a human killer. But, in reality, these sometimes fatal attacks only take place in aquatic parks with orcas kept in captivity. Indeed, orcas are not at all aggressive with humans when they are in the wild. On the contrary, they tend to be curious and benevolent. On the other hand, when they are held in captivity, the frustration and loneliness they experience on a daily basis sometimes cause them to literally go crazy. And for good reason. The orca is not an animal made to be kept alone in a small tank. It is a social animal that likes to live in groups and that needs large spaces to blossom. Let me introduce you to Tilikum, an orca who was part of the team at SeaWorld's theme park in Orlando, Florida. Died in January 2017, the male orca had made headlines by attacking his trainer Don Brancheau in the middle of a performance on February 26, 2010. The 40-year-old woman succumbed to multiple injuries and drowning after the orca grabbed her and pulled her into the water. After the accident, the management blamed the accident on a training error. The water park decided to keep Tilikum anyway, since he was the breeding male and a significant source of income as well. In 2013, a documentary, Blackfish, was released, which told the story of Tilikum. The broadcast of this documentary was, by the way, the cause of the decline in attendance of water parks, blaming the deplorable conditions of captivity in which the animals that perform the shows live. Note that the black and white giant was already involved in 2 deadly attacks in 1991 and 1999. Check out these Biggs killer whales, also known as migratory killer whales, that have taken refuge on the westernmost point of Protection Island in Washington state. These orcas are there for these seals on the shingle beach edges with their pups. And believe me, they're not going to wait for the little ones to jump into the water to catch them. Killer whales deliberately leave themselves stranded to ambush their prey. Justine Buckmaster, a naturalist with a Washington-based travel agency, witnessed the incident. She was concerned that the whale had accidentally beached itself, but her concern quickly turned to excitement. "I realized I had just witnessed something really rare in our area," she says. This behavior was previously observed in killer whales in the Salish Sea, and then it became more common in all killer whales. We have to adapt. Josh McInnes, a biologist with the Transient Killer Whale Research Project, believes that intentional stranding developed opportunistically in mammal hunters. Killer whales did not interact with or learn this behavior from a South American killer whale population. It's more of an incidental behavioral trait, he says. The observation of this type of behavior shows that killer whales are intelligent, skillful and capable of adapting to the slightest difficulties. Look now. These exceptional and spectacular images have been reported to us by other cetacean watchers. It is not uncommon to watch videos in which killer whales, which are formidable predators, swim in a friendly manner with dolphins. But this time, it is different. It is in Monterey Bay in California that we attended an incredible scene. A dozen orcas attacked a school of thousands of dolphins. The big black and white marine mammal watches, and as the dolphins pass by, we see an orca appear out of the water and grab its prey. Poor dolphin. But for these giants, nothing could be easier. We all know that killer whales are used to hunting sea lions for food, but when these animals are no longer numerous enough to be hunted, the killer whales find a new source of food: dolphins. The fact is that taking on such an impressive bench is quite extraordinary, if not unheard of. The observers present that day were amazed by what their eyes saw. They knew they were privileged to see what nature has to offer. If there's one thing we've learned, it's that our orca friends are not afraid of the cold. Hold on tight because you haven't seen anything yet. The facts take place in South Africa. A guide managed to film the incredible pursuit of a great white shark by two killer whales. We can see the shark running away while the big whales try to catch it. How ironic. A terrified killer. It is reported that some sharks may leave their territory after a killer whale attack. In fact, a 2019 study found that the terror of the seas, that is the white shark, is actually afraid of killer whales. When confronted with killer whales, white sharks immediately leave their preferred hunting grounds where they return only a year later, says Salvador Jorgensen, lead author of the study. It must be said that nature sometimes reserves some surprises. Who would have thought that the great white shark could fear another animal? Are you captivated by these stories about orcas? Let's continue then. This time we go off the coast of Australia where 15 orcas have attacked a humpback whale. It was during one of these outings that Gemma Sharp, who was out at sea with about 40 tourists, observed an unusual activity. No less than 15 orcas appeared from the surface and headed towards a specific target. The orcas aimed at the poor mammal's dorsal fin in an attempt to turn it over and drown it, a fairly common hunting technique. But the young whale, a still robust male, did not let himself be beaten and fought back as best he could. He took refuge for nearly 40 minutes under the tourist boat, before trying to leave, and being caught by the last 6 orcas who had not let go. The fight lasted nearly 4 hours, and fortunately the whale escaped unscathed. She had a torn dorsal fin and several traces of blows, but was well and truly alive. Witnesses to this surprising attack say they have never seen such a sight. Shannon Ainslie was 15 years old when he was attacked by 2 great white sharks while surfing at Nahoon Reef in South Africa. It was one of the first times a shark attack was filmed live. Well, that's not all. It must be said that the young man has the knack to attract the big fishes. Listen carefully. During a competition in Norway, the surfer once again met a giant of the sea, and not just any giant, 2 orcas. He says, "I was getting back to the peak after catching a wave when I saw this dark shadow speeding towards me making bubbles all around. Another surfer there with me thought it was a prank by someone swimming with a fin on their back to scare us. The first killer whale dived right in front of the nose of my board. I put my feet on the board. The killer whale went to the side and I could see its white belly. Then I saw the second one coming toward me with great speed, but it turned around right in front of me." Far from being fearful, Shannon kept his cool and raised his arms to the sky, happy to be alive. He managed to get out of the water quietly on his board to the beach before diving back into the water, immediately remembering that orcas do not attack humans. What a fool. During the summer of 2020, off the coast of Portugal and Spain, several orca attacks on sailboats have been recorded. The cause of these repeated attacks has not been identified. According to cetacean specialists, it would be just in order to intimidate the tourists present that day, to have fun. What a funny way to pass the time. On August 30th, the rudder of an Oceanus 44 was damaged in the middle of the day by a group of orcas measuring between 6 and 8 meters. A few days earlier, an identical attack was reported 70 miles south of Vigo. Since July, at least 7 similar incidents have been recorded in this popular area. Eric Deme, cetologist, cetacean specialist, based in Brittany and founder of the TURSIOPS Group for the Study and Protection of Dolphins and Cetaceans, explains, "If the orca had really wanted to destroy a boat of this size, believe me, it would have had no trouble," insists Eric Deme. There are examples where orcas have completely smashed a boat, even if it meant injuring itself by jumping on it. It is important to know that an orca is capable of attacking a whale much bigger than these boats, and winning its fight. We still don't understand why the orcas had this behavior so many times. Maybe they were bored and tried to occupy themselves as they could. Fortunately, there was more fear than harm. The material damages do not count compared to the human lives. If sometimes, the victims of orcas manage to save themselves, it is not the case of this small humpback whale. The poor cetacean was devoured by a group of killer whales under the eyes of whale watchers who were in the right place at the right time. The calf was calm with its mother and another male, when suddenly a group of about 30 orcas appeared, managed to separate it from the adults before drowning it and devouring it. His mother and the male tried to save him, but in vain. The orcas were much too numerous. They would have met the same fate if they had insisted. During the whale migration period, killer whales tend to follow the whales in order to take advantage of the calves as soon as the opportunity arises. The captain of the boat, Dean Fuchs, said that seeing the orcas like that in the wild was one of the most impressive things he had seen. He said about the spectacle he witnessed, everyone was impressed and a little shocked too. It is not every day that we can witness such an outburst of force. We will finish with this scene that takes place near Everett in the northwest of Washington state in the United States. The crew of the Cascadia Research Collective boat witnessed one of the rare orca attacks on gray whales. At this time of the year, the cetaceans are passing, as every spring, off the coast in full migration towards the north. They take a break in order to fill up with shrimps and to continue their long journey. Accustomed to seeing the spectacle of the whale's journey, the sailors were very impressed by the battle that was being waged before them. According to witnesses on the scene, the orcas were hunting offshore when they were caught up with the group of whales. One of them got stuck between two whales. That's when a fight broke out as three other big killer whales came to the rescue to save their friend. The whales felt invaded by the orcas, so they fought back. Very impressive to see. It was a clash of the titans out there, said the deckhand. Fortunately, there were no casualties on either side. Did this video impress you as much as it did us? Tell us in the comments. And as usual, if you like this video, don't forget to give us a like, subscribe to the channel and activate the bell to receive all the notifications and not miss anything of our next contents. See you soon for a new video.